All right, what's up, A to Z? This is Randy, and today I'm joined with Felton and Ron and Michael. What's going on, fellas?
How we
Oh,
doing? How
no.
we doing?
How y'all
What's
doing?
happening, man? For sure. So we got the cigars, we got the drink, we got, we outside, and some of us are inside, and we got some things we need to talk about today, fellas. So I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right into it, man. We got 6 topics today that I want to cover. Uh, But I want to start off with talking about how things were back in the day. Uh, Most of us was born in the 80s. Uh, and so all of us actually were born in the 80s, man. Some early 80s, some late 80s. But we all experienced the 80s, the 90s. And we all have our story to tell on that. But my first question is, how was life like for you in the 90s? Like from 90 to 99? We'll start with you, Ron and Phelps, man.
Um, for me, that was early childhood. I was born in '89, so pretty much from '90 to '99, I was 1 to 9 years old. So I just remember like shit like the Rugrats and Nickelodeon and stuff like that from early '90s, in the '90s or whatever. So that was for me. The coming of age was in the 2000s, Y2K and on or whatever. But '90s for me was pretty much childhood. Life was very simple. We all we did was play outside all day, basketball, football, hung out with family members, my cousin, all y'all really. And during that time, we just pretty much was outside most of the time, just playing.
Yeah, we was.
Until we got tired and we was on Super Nintendo and stuff, real heavy. Um, and that's pretty much what the '90s was for me. All I remember is just it was simple for me, because I was in them childhood years. So Power Rangers.
Oh yeah, man.
Dragon Ball Z. That's kind of
yeah.
when you say the '90s for me. That's pretty much what that was. Just that childhood memory. My grandmother being alive. You know, having family get-togethers. Like you already know Christmas and Thanksgiving. That was at on North 23rd. So that's when I think of the '90s. That's what I think of. Just childhood shit and my grandma. So
How about school, man? What would you say when it comes to school? How was it for you in the 90s? How would you describe school?
school, I was in elementary school, and I just remember just having fun. School wasn't hard for me, it was just having fun. I was into athletics, so I would be the student like most athletic, and we'll do little things at the end of the school year, like field days, where you do certain competitions and shit. Um, that's something that I had looked forward to. Um, you know, that's pretty much it. I rode the school bus. I remember riding the school bus, beating on the seat, making little beats. I remember us making beats with the pencils on the table and stuff. Uh, trying to freestyle, coming back to school from hearing like Mystical and the Hot Boys, hearing like they new songs, and then we'll come back and rap them at school. Like we was part of the Hot Boys.
Yeah.
One thing I remember specifically is when the Hypnotized Minds and Hot Boys made that song, and everybody came to school. Dum 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 dum. Yeah. So that was one of that. I ain't lie, that was probably one of the highlights.
Yeah, I think that song was called "Hypnotized Cash Money," right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all boys ain't ready for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That song still go hard to this day, man.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that's crazy. That's crazy. What about you, Phelps?
Yeah, just to kind of bounce off of him, man. Yeah, the '90s, man. You know, I felt like that was a time where we all bonded more together. It was, you didn't have MySpace, towards the end of the 90s, but everybody seemed closer. Our loved ones that's no longer with us kept the family closer together. And Christmas, man, you seen all your first cousins, second cousins, everybody was having a good time and showing love. And it was just really a beautiful time, bro. The 90s to me is made me the man that I am today. We really had a chance to be kids when we were kids. We had a chance to, we had good mentors, like y'all was our mentors. And, y'all always kind of put us in a positive light, and it was a beautiful time, bro. Like it really was. Like what I remember too is school was really school. You had teachers that cared more back then. To me, in my opinion, I think you had the last of those breeds that wanted to, if you didn't act right, they'll paddle you, or tell you, put a little letter in your conduct and say, hey, this I care about him, but he kind of acting out of line, So I feel like the 90s was a good time to grow up in. Like I wouldn't trade my generation for nothing in the world.
I agree.
I feel you on that, man. Yeah. For me, I felt like 90s was when black people came into their own for black music. For like black actors, I felt like for even like black business owners, you had No Limit Cash. You had a lot of black CEOs that emerged in the music industry. And even just like you had, for me, 90s represented like Eddie Murphy, Halle Berry, Vivica Fox. You had those women, Nia Long, all of them came out of there. For me as a a teenager, man, I had my kid in the 90s and just it was a lot, man. But I just felt like black women conducting themselves in a certain way in the 90s. There was no such things as BBLs and lashes. No. I remember back then where like women were being clowned for having extensions or hair leaves.
Yeah.
So now it's like, everybody got them, man. But back to me, like, no, man, 90s was like beautiful. It was just beautiful.
Natural beauty.
And we had people like Michael Jordan, you know what I'm saying? 96 Chicago Bulls, 93, 94, you know what I'm saying? Like we had the Bulls, man. Like you said, man, just holidays. It seemed like everybody got together. And it didn't matter how much money you had or anything. But when Christmas and Thanksgiving rolled around, bro, it was like, whose house we gonna be at?
Right.
Who's holding Christmas this year? Who's hosting Thanksgiving this year? Those are the things that I feel like we don't, as a family, as black people, we don't do that often. We don't do it the way we used to, man. We gotten further and further away from that.
So, and that house was packed every Christmas. 23rd Street, they went. When y'all grandma, when Auntie was here, bro, it was packed. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, she was like the glue.
Right.
The glue to the family. And she took it seriously and she valued that.
Yeah, 1990s had big mamas, bro. They had grandmas and momos and papas. Nobody wants to be grandma and mama anymore. They want to be G-mom and Nana, and they don't want to cook for Thanksgiving. It just man.
You got to realize too, a lot of these new grandmas and grandpas and nanas and all that, they not 50 plus no more. Now a lot of them just turned 40. Just turned 40 plus. You know what I mean? 40, 42. And those kids that are having kids, they just got out of the house. So you have those type of situations, that I've seen, to where, this person's a grandpa, but he's only 42 years old. And his son or daughter just left the house. So that's why you don't have those, grandmas, Neiman, whatever you want to call them, like it was back in the 90s. It's a change. It's a shift.
I
And
think I think we still seeing the same age. I think the age ranges are still there. I just think you have a lot of older people now who don't want to be old. You got a lot of
yeah,
women in their 50s and 60s who still want to roam around like they in their 40s,
right.
like they in their
And
30s.
but you know, yeah, you definitely see that. You definitely see that. That's
You
just
got
gonna
you got
happen.
some of these 50-year-olds who out getting BBLs, or they hanging out with the little 30-year-olds at the homecoming games and stuff, and they want to act like they still there. And I think a lot of times it has to do with them not being able to experience that part of life when they were that age. Either they
Right,
were married or they had kids themselves, and they didn't get to enjoy their 30s. They didn't get to enjoy their 20s. So now
right,
they out there, they like, well, shit, I'm 50, my kids are grown, it's just me. Let me go and live my best life.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
happening. That's definitely happening.
hell yeah.
For me in the 90s, man, like you guys really hit it. But when I think about the 90s, just growing up, you just had no worries, man. I
Yeah.
used to love to see you guys come to the house.
Oh yeah.
Even when I was working in the 90s, I would love to see you guys come to my job and hang out and go see a movie or this and that. Or we all go to the movies, whatever was coming out. You know what I'm saying? To
Oh
be able
yeah.
to just hang out with family, you knew where everybody was meeting at for Christmas and Thanksgiving. Um, it was just different, man. Life was easier. Shit, gas was cheaper. You got to think back in the day, man. Gallon of gas, I used to have my little neon. Dog,
I remember.
$10.
Honey buns with 50 cents.
No, yeah, 100 bucks, 50 cent. $10 to $12 would fill my car all the way up.
Yeah,
10 to $12, and that was good for a whole week and a half, 2 weeks, depending on obviously where I've been driving. So, like y'all said, you had the Hot Boys, Cash, No Limit, and when I left home in the 2000, yo, used to get so homesick, and I just remembered so many times I'll get homesick, I'll grab my radio, play the Hot Boys, play No Limit, and would just get hyped. Be just in my room, just like I'm at a party, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm back home. Even when I would drive 16 hours to come home just for 2 or 3 days, 16 hours, get sleepy on the road, put in juvenile, man, I used to think I would break my seat because I would be jumping up and down so hard, dog. You know,
Oh
just
yeah.
listening to it. Oh man, some of the verses he would say, dog, just would have me just beating on my dash and just just ready just to get home, man. I went from being halfway sleeping on the road to up throwing my hands up and everything, yo, knowing
good.
I'm almost home. Even if I'm
Booting up at the steering wheel,
booting up at the steering wheel, you know what I'm saying? Knowing that, yo, I still got 8 more hours to drive. That's
yeah,
cool. I'm cool because I know I'm going home.
right,
So,
right.
you know, I love Baton Rouge. I love home. The 90s was everything. And just growing up in the South like we did, man, it made me who I am.
Mm,
And I will always be grateful
mm.
because the manners I learned, like even in the 90s, this one thing y'all didn't hit on that I used to love. In the 90s, yo, if you did something that was fucked up, dog, excuse me, if you did something that was messed up, what would happen if somebody saw you and they knew who your mama was? Yo, they going to your mama about it. You know, I remember when even my older brother did something and somebody saw him do it in the South Side, and they came to my mama. Hey, this boy getting all these beeps on this beeper and this and that. Da, 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 da. You know, even when I was, you know, doing my thing, they'll tell me, yo, hey, get off that corner. That ain't for you. You know, and I'll be speaking to, you know, my distant relatives. We'll be sitting there talking, but hey, you know, old folks let me know, hey, you're not that dude. Get off that. And you don't need to become that. And I used to look at it like, you know, but why they messing with me? Why they picking me out? But that was the love they had for me. And when I got older, I saw that. You know, you don't see that nowadays.
No,
You
you
know,
don't.
you
You
don't
don't.
see that nowadays. You don't see these young kids saying, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. You don't see these kids running to the door to open it for these old folks. You know, you got to pay it forward to the older generation. And that's the thing. We don't have enough of that. And in the 90s, that's what it was all about. You know, and now people have kids and it's like, oh, I'm raising my kids this way. Okay, cool. Do you. But is your way really working? You know, oh, well, my kid's making all A's. Well, yeah, your son making all A's, but he just got arrested too. So what they say? They say he has it here, but he something else is missing, you know. But man, the 90s was everything to me. Elementary, middle school, high school, especially when I started working, man,
Bro, you
everything.
know what? It just made me think of something, man. We talking about the 90s. And Ron and Felt, y'all may have done this, maybe you haven't. But I remember in middle school and even high school, when we would get a chick phone number and we would get home and we would call her. And so back then, we really didn't have CDs, right? We had the
Yeah.
radio. And
Right.
so I'm gonna tell you shit I used to do. My sister and them used to get perm kits just for me, perm, and used to have the
Oh yeah.
tape that come in them. And so I used to put the tape over the squares and record over the Just For Me theme song, right? And it was like the instructions. And I would record songs off of the radio, like Faith Evans, as soon as I get home. And so I would wait till I get a good tape and I would call the chick and I would wait for my song, whatever song, like Faith Evans, as soon as I get home was always my go-to. That and Tevin Campbell's Can We Talk? And
Oh,
I would
okay.
wait for those songs play and I would call her. And I'll be so pissed if she didn't answer a phone because I'm like, now I gotta rewind the song right back to the beginning. And but I had to have some back. That was like the go-to thing, bro. Like you had to have a background, some music playing in the background when you call
Yeah.
the chick. And sometimes the song will be louder than you. And so there'll be times, bro, where you'll be on the phone for like a minute and you won't say a damn thing. You just let the song play. And she be like, oh, that's my song. Like, yeah. And because you ain't really developed, you haven't developed any game at that time, right? So you
Right.
just like, I'm gonna just let the song do all the talking for me and shit. And
Right.
sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, bro. But that's
Yeah.
what we went through in the 90s, man.
Or you can have it as your voicemail, you know,
Yeah.
when they'll call you and you be like, yo, you have the music playing, yo, this Mike, you know, you just missed me, you know, blah blah blah. But I'll get back with you. Peace. And just hang
And then
out.
you got like a 3 minute goddamn recording. You got to
Yeah.
wait 3 minutes before you can leave a damn message. Like, damn, man, I'll just call them later. Shit. But no, man, that was the 90s, bro. That was the
Yo, it
Yeah.
90s.
was a good time, man.
Yeah, that was effort, Like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, bro.
Yeah, man.
So look, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the next topic, man. Since we talking about the 90s, uh, I'm wanting to know which decade had the best rap and R&B music to you and why. And so, Mike, we're gonna start with you this time.
I gotta say, the 90s, dog.
For which genre though? Because it doesn't have to be in the same. If rap, it's up to you.
Uh if I have to say rap and R&B, I gotta say the 90s. You gotta
Mm.
think. That's when you got R. Kelly. Man, and the stuff he was putting out, dog, was just like baby making. There's a reason why a lot of the kids were born in the 90s because of this dude. His music was untouchable. And he was consistent. Even with rap music, man, these dudes were saying something. And I'm not just gonna be like most people be like, oh, you had the Tupac and the Biggies. No, man. What about the KRS ones?
Yeah.
You know, you had the Big Daddy Kanes, Cool Mo D,
Mm.
MC Hammer.
But you know, some
I
of them
mean,
guys came out in the 80s though. Kumo D, KRS1.
right, but KRS-One was still rapping in the 90s as
Right,
well.
right. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, but you had the Public Enemy that was waking a lot of black people up as far as what's going on. A lot of this stuff before Google, before Google really hit, a lot of these black rappers were saying this stuff in their music that we didn't know about. You know what I mean? Um, it's a De La Soul. I mean, I can go on and on, man. A lot of these groups, man. Um, the music, they were just saying something. It had a message. Nowadays, I would hear a lot of my soldiers listen to their music while we're in a truck or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, what the hell is this dude saying? Like, what is he saying? And they're like, yo, this song fire. No, it's lit. Oh, no, it's not. Like, what is he saying?
Right.
What is making you hype besides the beat? What is making you jump up and down besides the beat of the song? You know, that's just how I feel on that.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that, man. I have to agree with you. What about you, Phil? Want to hear from you?
What Tank said, man, that's 100%. I mean, you got to look at it. All the technology with like R&B singers, they didn't have that back then. You know,
Mhm.
they didn't. You know, you had Monica and Brandy really blossom to being the artists that they were. They had talent. You know, they were hungry. They grinded to get the sales that they got. They didn't have YouTube. You know, they didn't
Right.
have cell phones back then. You know, the Hot Boys, the BGs, you know what I'm saying? Them boys had to really work to get that big deal, you know. You know, Master P, he had to work his way up to get those deals. So them boys, they rap had a message, like how Tank said. And it wasn't all about flossing. You know, they
With
had
the Hot
message.
Boys, it was everything about
Yeah,
Floss.
it was
Big
everything,
Time
man.
was in there, but yeah.
It was everything, man. Like they had a message. Tupac, he was trying to send a message to his community, letting them know
Mhm.
what we still deal with to this day. You know what I'm saying? So by far the 90s set the bar for what they're doing today, even though it's nowhere compared. Rap cannot compare to what the 90s was. It's no comparison. Even music, even Michael Jackson, you know, that was the last phase where he was who he was. You know, Usher My Way,
Mm.
you know, My Way, when, you know, Destiny Child, when they start, you know, they weren't
Mhm.
really doing like singing groups like that. Then you had TLC. It's like, man, like these girls, if you didn't have talent, you didn't make it. You know what I'm
That's
saying? But
facts,
now
man.
you know, you get a few likes or you go viral on YouTube, then you got a deal.
Hey, bro, you know, it's funny because I was thinking the other day, I saw it was a reality TV show with Ray J on there. And I was like, had that little dude, had he put out the shit he put out in the 2000s, had he put that out in the 90s, it would have never made it, bro. It'd
No,
have never
indeed.
made it, man. And I
No, and
remember and going back to like, you know, you were saying like Monica and Brandy. Shit, I remember that's when Jagged Edge came out.
right.
Tevin Campbell,
Mhm.
Can We Talk? The whole I'm Ready album. You know what I'm
Even Mary
saying?
J, he went the
You
hardest in
had
the night.
Tony Braxton.
Tony, right.
You had
Whitney Houston. Whitney
Whitney
Houston.
Houston, Johnny
Yeah.
Gill. You had Silk. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? You had
mm,
Jodeci. Remember Joe? That was a whole
Oh,
New Jack Swing era, bro.
yeah.
man.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
definitely.
Come
And
on,
it's one
bro.
of those things too. Like you said, if you can really go a little deeper than that with Ray J. Really? If it wasn't for his sister Brandy,
He
yo,
paid the
he
way.
would have been irrelevant.
Yeah,
Brandy
come
paid
on.
the way, bro. She
Hmm.
really did. Like, you know, she had talent, bro. Like, you know, and I'm not saying they ain't got talent now because they definitely do. But let's be honest. Them girls had to work 3 times harder than what they do now. The
Yeah.
rappers, you know, Cash Money that they had to work up, you know, to get what they got.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
I'm a
it pisses me off, bro. when I see people like Sexy Red and some of these other artists now that are getting millions or getting radio play off of some BS. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Being played on the radio. That shit would have never happened. And because some people they'll compare like Sexy Red to like Trina and Kaya or Dina Howard. But even
Mm,
then they were saying something in their music. You know what I'm saying? They were
right,
storytelling, you know.
right.
but you got to think about this. I'm gonna take y'all way back real quick. Something that you don't even see no more, and y'all talking about talent. But whatever happened to going to a talent show, dog? Whatever happened to going to May Night at McKinley High School? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, to where you'll have kids all over the city that'll try to get into May Night because they know the who's who gonna be there. You know, and everything. You don't even see that no more, dog.
Well, you don't have to have talent, man. You just gotta be saying something that ain't nobody heard before.
Right.
That's it.
And it don't even have to make sense either.
It don't. It really don't, bro. It really don't. Ron, what about you, man? It's like you got your take on the music.
For me, Burn, as far as R&B, I would say between 95 and 2005. Um, that little decade, because you had Erica Badu, you had Monica, you had Brandy, you had Alicia Keys, you had Beyonce going into her solo career. You had Usher with the My Way album,
That's
the
true.
Confessions album.
Yes, sir.
Mm,
Um,
Yes, sir.
you got Maxwell. I mean,
mm,
for me, between 95, because that's when I really started listening to music and understanding what music was. From 95 to 2005 in the R&B genre, it would be that decade for me where it was the best. And a lot of those songs today in 2023, a lot of those songs are being sampled
Oh
on
yeah,
today's music.
100.
For instance, what's the hit that they just recently sampled Tupac song, Tiger and somebody else and some chick. It come on the radio all the time now. It's like a lot of those songs between 95 and 2005, a lot of those songs are being sampled.
mhm.
100%.
And that just tells us that it's just those songs was timeless, whether it was the beat or whether it was the cadence on how the artist came on, or whether it was the lyrics, man. It's for R&B, I would say between 95 and 2005. And for rap, for me, it would be between 2010 to 2020.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, that was a good era too. I ain't gonna lie.
for me, 2010 for the rap now, 2010 to 2020, you had a mixture of the older rappers, and the new school
Come
combining.
together.
You
Combined.
got the
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar's, J. Cole's, you got Nas putting out albums, you got Jay-Z putting out albums, you
I
got
should have said nah. Yeah,
East
nah.
Coast, West Coast, because for a while after Tupac died, it really wasn't no West Coast rappers. You had E40 still doing his thing,
Yeah.
but he wasn't like relevant. But then in the 2010 to 2022s, you had Kendrick Lamar and TDE. You had YG, who's a good rapper in my opinion. You got Nipsey Hussle. And then you got the start of the whole mixtape game that Lil Wayne started out. Lil Wayne and 50 Cent
Yeah.
started the whole mixtape. Him, DJ Drama,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
between 2010 and 2020, bro.
Oh
For
yeah.
rap, I think that was what made rap what it is today. Of course, they had the pioneers like the NWAs and Dr. Dre's. They kind of started what rap is today. It wasn't no such thing as gangster rap until Dr. Dre and NWA.
And
And that's what
EB.
everybody else tries to portray, whether they lying or, you know, making up fake stories or whatever. Because back in the day, in the 90s, you had to really live what you was rapping or you would get exposed. Nowadays, you can be rapping
100.
your neighborhood drug dealer's life and you would get all the recognition for it because
100.
you're rapping it. But for rap, for me, between 2010 and 2020, that's because you had everybody in it. Like I say, you had the old school cats because Jay-Z been in the game since 96. All the way up into now, you had Jay-Z dropping albums with American Gangster, which is by far one of the best albums that ever came out. You had Nas, Godson, and all his recent albums that he got out now.
I agree.
You know, I didn't start listening to Nas until like 2 years ago. Because in the South, all you know is, you know,
the Southern rappers,
the No Limits and the Cash Money and Trill Entertainment and Pimp C, UGK, and
Kevin Gates and
Rap a Lot.
Southern rap. Southern rap.
You know, that's kind of like what all you kind of know coming from the South. So you really ain't. It was I know for me, the people who listened to New York rap was like the backpackers and the people that was considered intelligent. You know.
Yeah. Agreed.
But in Outkast, you can't leave out Outkast. Outkast dropped one of the most profound albums between 2000 and 2010 with the Love Box and the Speaker Box and Love Below. You know, they hadn't dropped anything else since then, and you can still go back and play it, and it'll resonate with today.
I agree with you. Yeah, they best-selling album sold in the 2000s, but they got recognized for the music they dropped in the 90s. And I'll tell you another thing, Lil Wayne mixtape came out from 03 after he dropped that quarter one to like 07. That's when you got mixtape Wayne, quarter two Wayne. And when 50 Cent was at his best from 02 to like 08. During that time. But, you know, 210 to 2022, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I felt like music was trash. Trash.
God.
For me, Brian,
shit was trash.
well, I'm gonna put it like this. For me, because I know my taste of music,
but I do agree with. I
only listen to somebody that's speaking substance. You know,
Kendrick Lamar was hitting on 2000.
You have to be saying something for me to listen to. Like that trash music, I don't even consider that rap. That's like modern day pop culture,
right?
And the only reason they making it saying nothing is because of the producers now.
Right.
If it wasn't for the Man and Fresh or Timberlands or them two,
100.
or Dr. Dre, it wouldn't be the Mike Wells, the Londons, the Mouse on the Track. Mouse on the Track is by far one of my favorite producers because he created what you know today as that Baton Rouge sound. It wouldn't be no Young Boy NBA. All the pianos and the 808s in the back that everybody wants to use now.
Mm-hmm.
Mouse on the Track started it.
He did.
Mouse on the Track and the other guy, I want to say his name is Be Real.
Be Real, yeah.
That started at that Trill Entertainment or whatever. That Wipe Me Down song. That beat. The reason why that song is so hot is because of that beat. Every sorority, black sorority or fraternity
stepping and strolling behind that. You ain't going to no party without that being played.
Right. At least twice. At least twice. They're gonna hit it at the beginning of the party. They're gonna hit it when the party's getting ready to kind of wind it down a little bit.
Yeah, that was an 06. And it's more popping now than it was back then. Yeah. I would think.
Yeah, man. So
so I see your point too. I see,
But I will say this, you got some rappers who I got a lot of respect for, who when they come out with something, I gotta listen to it. Like with I love Gates. Gates is by far one of my favorite rappers, as well as J. Cole. When you could take a kid's high school experience and rap a whole 4.5 minute song about it, about losing your virginity? Come on, dog.
He's a great storyteller.
That's a
And that's,
storyteller.
that's what
When you-
rap is all about. It's storytelling.
right.
You
So
know,
when you can
yeah.
do that,
You give your listeners a vision of
visual.
what you're saying. Nas is
That's nice.
Nas is A1 about that. Like Nas could rap a song, and I could be sitting there picturing
What he's saying.
New York projects and 40 side and all this other shit. Like I'm from there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Nah,
you know, like
You
Jay-Z,
got the fresh butters on, huh?
right. You know, Jay-Z with the 560 State Street.
Right.
I'm sitting there picturing the building,
Yeah.
you know, and then you got
Oh.
Boosie giving his take on it. South, you know, being from here, he'll give a full description of
Right.
the whole South Side. Like you,
Right.
okay, this Thomas Dale Pitt, this Garfield Street, like
Yeah.
he giving, you know, a storytelling.
Wyoming Street.
Yeah, and then you actually passing by, like, okay,
I see what he's saying.
this
Yeah.
is, you know, and Kendrick Lamar with his Mad Kid, bad, good city, good
Yeah.
kid, Mad City.
Yeah.
He gave their descriptions
All on board. All of them.
of stuff he claimed to have experienced. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he's just picturing like his mom band and shit, him riding around. I remember when I would borrow my mom's car and try to go see hoes and end up getting into
Right.
trouble outside of trying to go see females.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and then
right.
you got the niggas in the neighborhood, they like, oh, this car ain't from around here.
Yeah.
You know, although it's not gang territory here, you still ran into the same similar situations. You hanging out with your boys trying to go see,
Right.
you know, this chick and that chick, and then you run into some
You know,
adversary in the
a little
neighborhood.
tension,
I
yeah.
kind of resonated with that album. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, nah, that's facts, man. I feel the same way about Ice Cube, Scarface.
Yeah.
Even
Oh,
Pac,
Scarface.
man.
Can't forget about him. Yeah. A lot of them boys but like late 90s.
That might be a little bit before y'all time though, but I remember listening to
Ice
Face
Cube
Mob.
album
Man,
was 1 year for Christmas. I remember. You
Yeah,
had it. I was
yeah.
listening on that CD player, portable CD
Yeah.
player.
I remember Tank having no Vaseline, and he actually I know about no Vaseline because of you, fool. And I'm serious because I couldn't listen to stuff like that in my house. I would get in trouble, but I remember listening to Tank talk about it, and I just remember hearing it, man. I was like, damn. I just thought it was
True
cold.
story. I remember I came to y'all house, Brandon, one summer, and I had that Ice Cube album. I can't remember the name of the album, but my favorite song on the album was Bet. Fool, I'm a vet, you can bet. I can dance underwater and not get wet. It's raining bullets and I'm still there. Young ghetto nigga in the wheelchair. Fuck a VA. I need a CA. Something gang hospital for some shit he was saying. And I remember your mama came and put the headphones on and she was like, I know Ronna ain't got you listening to this. So she called my daddy. She called my daddy and was like, you got him listening to this? Like, and he was like, oh, well, yeah, that's what he wanted because he listened to Ice Cube. But, you know, I ain't going to never forget that.
Yeah.
I remember in his house and I had the Big Timers album.
Chris was listening to
Everybody
it.
get your roll on.
Everybody.
The radio version was like, everybody get your roll on. But I had the explicit version. And it was everybody get your motherfucking roll on. And I remember Uncle Felton was like,
Yeah. He was.
So
I can see him now too, boy.
like y'all need to turn that shit off.
And Chris took the album and was listening to it on that 626. Took his album and was enjoying it more than him.
Hey, it's funny, man. I was 17, bro. No, 16. And I had Mac, the one with Murder, Kill on it.
Oh man.
And that's the one with Can I Ball on it. Can I Ball?
Yeah,
Can I Ball? My
Yeah.
brother. It got so many. I still play that album to this day, but
Yeah.
my dad used my car for something, and he got in there.
Oh man.
He took my CD, bro, and that's the first time I ever had it out with my pops, man. And I told him, I was like, well, it's my car, and I paid for it. I don't give a damn, you know. And so, and what I do, I go and buy another CD.
But even back then, remember how No Limit would drop a CD every other month. Every other month for about 4.5 years straight. And it was like you had to keep up with them.
And
Yeah,
you
I
knew
think they
about
still
it.
hold the record. I think in 1 year they dropped like 28 albums. I think No Limit still holds that record.
Oh yeah,
28 albums.
Yeah,
Hey
in
man,
a year.
and you knew the album was coming because every time you bought a new No Limit CD, they had all the upcoming albums in the back of the disc, man, or in the little posters. You know how they had a poster on the inside and a booklet. You knew about what was coming. And I always waited for that Mercedes album. That shit never came out, man. You remember the one rear end? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
I waited for that album for years.
Man, Randy, remember you used to have It Ain't My Fault? I used to be in the background and It Ain't My Fault. Oh, like, ooh.
Yeah.
Randy, man, bumping that, bro. Like, bro, y'all put me on, boy. I ain't gonna lie. I remember them days.
Bro, I had every album, man. Every album I buy, I always look for that Mystical song. Always look for whatever song Mystical was featured on.
Yeah. Always.
And the whole album could be trash, but it'd be that one song with Mystical on it that'll be fire as hell.
Wow. Yeah, shoot.
Yeah, man. But hey, fellas, we gonna go ahead and roll to the next topic, man, because I feel like we can be on this forever talking about music, man, growing up. But we gonna get into a more serious topic, man. We gonna talk about relationships, bro, and we gonna run through this, and I'm sure y'all might have more to say about this than I would. But this topic is, why is marriage important to you? And if you had a chance to do it over again, would you? So I'm gonna start with you, Tank. So we gonna let you go ahead and spearhead this one, my brother. Why is marriage important to you, man? And if I'm correct, this is your second time around, right?
Right. So
you definitely got a lot to share on this topic.
So definitely, this is my second time around, and I've learned more probably in the last 6 months than I learned in the whole 5 or 6 years that I was married previously. So marriage is definitely important, man. At the end of the day, you definitely want to grow old with someone, because we all can't be 25 for the next 30, 40, 50 years. You know, we can't always live in the streets and you know, it's cool looking at females, this and that, but it also feels good to come home to that person who you know that loves you, and when you down bad, who's got your back. You know, I didn't see marriage a lot growing up, and a lot of the marriages that I did see, I know I wanted to do better, and I wanted to have a better marriage. Obviously, that didn't work with my first marriage, but with my second marriage, we're doing really, really well because of the communication on both ends, and doing the counseling that we need to do, and knowing that it's a way to argue. Even if my wife do something to irritate me, man, it don't matter. It's a way to approach that situation. It could be handled in a certain way to where no one feels disrespected. And everything, man. It's definitely important. I strongly advise it, but I will say this: being in the wrong marriage can make you, or it could break you. You know, a lot of people don't talk about that, but that's just the honest truth. Because if you guys are not on the same page, I'm not saying you have to agree with everything, but if you're not on the same page, you're working against each other. You know, and my main thing is dating someone that's like-minded, like you, that wants a lot out of life. You get a lot of females that want a lot of material things, but don't want nothing out of life. You know, and that's just how I feel, man. It's definitely important. I strongly recommend it to either the youngsters or whatever, because at the end of the day, like I said, you ain't got to grow old for something to happen. I've seen people fall off at 27, 28, and have that wife that stand by their side and they get back on their feet a year or two later, and it's a beautiful thing, man. Whether someone goes to jail, whether someone ends up in the hospital, whatever the case may be, but she's there, you know. She's cooking you healthy meals, knowing that, you're dealing with this issue, that issue, and she's doing everything to keep you here longer. And a lot of times you'll find women that love you more than you love yourself.
Mm.
So,
That's
um,
true story.
so yeah, man, it's
That's deep, man. I ain't never heard nobody say that before, bro. But now I'm thinking that's deep.
yeah.
That's deep.
I've seen it. Me and my wife had a discussion today. We was watching one of our shows, and she said that when a man loves a woman more than a woman loves a man, the percentage of that relationship as far as it lasting is higher.
Mm.
So I said, how you figure that? And I said, okay. I said, let's talk about that. I said, do you feel I love you more than you love me? She said, yeah, I feel you love me more than I love you. I said, really? And she said, well, let me explain to you how I figured that. I said, okay, I'm listening. She said, I have a cup, and my cup is overflowing of love for you. But the person you are, you have a bucket of love overflowing for me. So that's why she said that I love her more than she loves me. And she said it has nothing to do with infidelity, this and that, and this. She said, but that's all I have. But all I have is for you. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, that's dope. I definitely roll with that.
But I gotta ask you though. Did
Okay.
you ask her why it's only a cup and not a bucket?
You know what? I didn't ask her why is a cup and not a bucket. But me knowing who my wife is, huh?
Tell her to answer the question since she's there. I know
uh,
she heard. No, I'm joking.
Capacity that somebody has, it's like that's their portion in life, but I'm giving you the whole portion.
she said the reason why she has a cup because that's her capacity. That's all she has. How she grew up, that's all she has. But how I grew up was different than how she grew up, and I got that bucket. Now you fellas was raised in the same house I was raised in, and the love y'all got from that house, y'all already know what it is. If we could be broke as a joke, but all we had was love. So
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
easier for
Real
me to
talk,
love.
real.
It's easier for me to show love than anything else because I was able to show love before before I had money. So that's why I look at money the way I do. It comes and it goes, but my love is gonna always be there. So my thing is, I'll tell anybody, marry your best friend, but also have it to where y'all on that same page to you just know how to talk to each other. Even in your most heated moments, know
Yeah.
how to talk to that person. And I'm not saying like I'm perfect. I'm not saying like me and my wife don't argue, we don't fuss. But the thing is, what I'm learning is how to talk to her at my the them tough moments without raising my voice, without cussing, without swearing, using any type of profanity, but being able to communicate. Because the same thing, whatever we're talking about, I can easily just say what I need to say without using that and without
Mm.
being disrespectful or, uh, insulting her character. Trying to kill her
That's real.
character.
That's real.
So yeah, man. I really didn't want to get married a second time, but when I met this woman and all the stars aligned, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to make this work, how I was going to make that work, and I was blessed to be in a certain situation. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get that going, and that's what it is, and I took off from there.
Mm.
So it's all about choosing that right woman, man, because the right woman will change any man.
That's true.
So
That's real talk now.
that's true. What about you, Ron? You about what, 6? How many years are you in, man? 6 years?
7 years.
Yeah.
7.
7 years. Um, for me, the concept of marriage is not important to me. Um, and I'm a you want to have a best friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that that because you have to be friends before, in my opinion, before the marriage comes, you have to be that best friend.
Right.
Because if the friendship is not there when times get hard in the marriage, if you don't have that friendship, it can be easily have disrespect.
100.
You can easily have distrust. You can easily have things that could go wrong, even worse than what the situation that you're dealing with. So if you
Absolutely.
didn't marry your best friend and you go through something in that marriage, that is going to really put that marriage to test and might end that marriage. And this is my second marriage, and my first marriage, I didn't marry my best friend. Me and her wasn't friends. It was more of a lust thing. The things that she displayed to me, that was different to me at that time. So I fell in love with the idea of the facade that was brought
that's
to
real,
me.
bro. Yeah.
And then got into the marriage when we dealt with hardship or whatever. That it ended because I didn't marry somebody that I was once friends with.
Right.
My current marriage, me and my wife, we've been married for going on 8 years. We've been together for 10 years.
Right.
Me and her were friends prior to us even getting into a relationship. And then that friendship led to us to that marriage.
To the next level.
So for me, it ain't about marriage, because you can be in a marriage and it just be a business partner. Y'all just taking care of bills together, raising kids together. Y'all, whenever one get in the mood, y'all might fuck here and there, but it ain't no friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So when hard times come, you got this man disrespecting his lady, or that lady disrespecting her man, or not really holding her man at a high standard, because that's not her friend. She just look at him like, oh, that's just the nigga that pay the bills.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. You
or
the money?
She just that chick that makes, fold the clothes and cook or whatever.
Right.
But if y'all don't have that friendship, because friendship will keep things in perspective. I'm not gonna talk to you any kind of way because you're my friend or whatever. It got some relationships where men and women might talk to their homeboys in a more respectful and more soft tone than they talk to their old lady.
That's
just
true,
the same thing with women. They'll talk to their homegirls. Hey girl, how you doing? How your day was? Blase, but then see the man and it just be like, oh, here go this nigga. But they married. So
sound like because the respect is no longer there. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
And that's
but if you got that friendship, the respect would never leave.
Right.
In my opinion, if you have a friendship
in your marriage,
a marriage is a lifetime commitment. You're gonna go through times or seasons where
roller
you don't
coaster,
like that person. Yeah. Just like in friendships, your friend might do something that you might feel is fucked up, but at the end of the day,
that's your dog,
if your friend needs you or your friend come to you, you're gonna be there for your friend.
Right.
If you don't have that in a marriage, your wife might need you, but if y'all ain't friends, you're gonna be like, man, fuck her. She got herself in that situation. She get herself out of it, and vice versa. So for me, it's that having that friendship, and if you end up marrying your best friend, you're a lucky person.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But
and that's hard to find.
That's a lot of people don't marry their best friend. They marry somebody who they was physically attracted to, or they might have other accolades that might help them get to where they want to get to in life.
Right.
But when it's time to get tested, they don't know how to handle that test because they don't have that friendship. So
and it take work. It take work to sustain a marriage. And if you're not friends with that person, you're trying to if you're not friends with that person, the idea or the incentive to want to put that work in is you're gonna lose that drive. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because marriage is a marathon. It's not a race. It's not a sprint. You're
Yeah.
gonna go through ups and downs. So you want to be with your best friend. And like how they say, one of the most important things that a man can do in his whole entire life is choose his wife.
Mm.
Choose to marry is going to determine how you go in life. Who you choose to marry is going to determine, I'm going to be honest, it's going to determine how long you even live.
Mm.
It's going to determine how far you prosper in your career. It's going to determine even your spiritual faith, because the Bible says that a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. You feel me? And I'm not trying to go biblical, but you know, and the Bible also say a man shouldn't. It's not good for a man to be alone.
Right.
So being married, bro, is really a very important step. And I'm not saying it's for everybody because it's not, but it is a beautiful thing. And you're gonna go through trials and tribulations. You're gonna go through ups and downs. Anybody that say they have a perfect marriage is lying. Because there's no such thing as perfect.
Right.
But when you marry your best friend, you're gonna fight for your best friend.
Yeah.
You feel me? You're gonna have those moments where y'all just intimate and lovey-dovey, and you're gonna have those moments where it's not so. Right. And that's okay. But what society gotta realize with dating, you're gonna be like that with anybody you date. You're gonna pair bond with them, and it's gonna be a moment where you're like, is it worth it? But with marriage, you forces yourself to fight because y'all both made a promise to each other and to God, for better or for worse. Yeah. But see, people want the better, but they don't want to fight for the worse.
Right.
The issue is when you have children, because you bring children into this world, both children need their parents. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? So when you have a situation where you don't support or value marriage, what items do they have to look forward to in the sense of when they just decide to date and when they decide to build with someone? You feel me? So marriage is a beautiful thing, bro. It really is, but it's not easy. Yeah. You got to be willing to put the work in. You got to be
I'm hearing everything y'all saying, bro, and I'm taking it in, I'm soaking it up, man. And I know a lot of cats my age that done died while married. You know what I'm saying?
Look what I said.
Hey, and I ain't talking about from an car accident now. I'm talking about from health issues, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
but look at it, bro. Like, for example, too, like if you got heart disease, bro, like if you got a good wife, a good woman behind you, they gonna say, well, babe, did you go to that doctor visit that they're gonna be that reminder that you need. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you know, your diet, or you gaining weight and you're not supposed to, your BMI is too high. You know, if you got a good woman, man, she gonna be that person say, babe, go to the gym.
Right.
Go, you know what I'm saying?
If she's your friend, she's gonna let you
100. 100.
You know, if you just a business partner, she's gonna be like, shit, how that life insurance policy look?
Right.
That's on him.
Or if she your friend, if she see that you're picking up weight, now she's gonna change what y'all eat now.
Yeah.
Now y'all know that church is chicken on every Thursday and Monday and Thursdays.
Two-piece Tuesday.
You know, or Tuesday and Thursday. Now you're eating healthy meals. Now y'all taking walks after y'all eat. Now you're drinking more water, and she's not buying soda. She's not buying this, you know, or that.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I read a book like that, Sister Ali, when I was in UAE. How a woman, a black woman, can kill a black man, and she ain't got to do much. Just keep
100%.
feeding, because that's what's happening. She's feeding you. She's, you know, the sugars, the grease, all that stuff. So, with all that being said, it's little things like that. It ain't the big things. It's the little things.
Right.
And you can just tell a person love you just by the way they cook for you. Yeah, I'm not saying don't ever cook a soul food, you know, dish. But if you see this brother is struggling, especially when he's 250, 300 pounds, yo, you might want to back up off that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's for sure.
No, I agree with all what you guys are saying, and I've never been married, so I don't know. I know marriage is something that I've always pushed for, but I don't know if it's for me. The older I get, the more I'm realizing that marriage may not be for me. I've
And
been
that's
in
okay.
long,
Yeah.
yeah, I've been in long term relationships, and I think one of the fears that I've always had, even as a youngster, man, was waking up one day realizing that I either no longer love the person that I'm with, or they no longer love me. And one thing I heard somebody older say a few years back is that there are times throughout the marriage where you fall out of love with the person you're with. But they were telling me that sometimes kids and the commitment you made to God is the one thing that keeps you there. And it's just that's part of life. No one stays in love for the duration of their marriage the entire time, you know.
Right.
Or there comes a time where you may not fall out of love, but there are times where I don't like them.
Right. But
Right.
when
But
it's
That's where that friendship come from.
But that's where the friendship comes from. But
Yeah.
you got to understand too, even medically and physiological, it's not physical possible to stay in love. It's
Right.
even if you date the prettiest broads in the world, bro, you're
Yeah.
never going to stay in love with them. It's not the body can't, the dopamine, all the neurochemicals in the brain, it's going to eventually level off. But that's where you have to work at your marriage. You have to work at it. And you're going to constantly fall in and out of love in your marriage. That is absolutely normal. Anybody that said they stayed in love in their marriage, I would challenge them. By the science, I would challenge them.
well,
It's not possible.
I would
So,
say this. This is how I feel, and you guys let me know how you with your take on it. I I feel like this, just due to how society is every day. Both husband and wife are both working. People are not taking vacations like they should, and I honestly think, as a married couple, you should take 2 vacations a year. One vacation with you and your wife, y'all go somewhere nice, put your feet up, relax, and one vacation with the fellas. I'm not saying you got to go to Vegas and do Vegas type stuff, but just with the fellas to where you just to get away. And it's a good feeling sometimes. Like even I experienced it. I love my wife to death, but some days I'll have CQ duty to where I'm gone for 24 hours, and it's just good to get away. And when I see my wife, I love her to death. I'm gonna kiss her, love her, and do all the things. But it's sometimes good to just have some time just for you, just to sit back and reflect on how life is going, what you need to do, what needs to go on. And
Right.
the same way, if you take that vacation away from your wife, you miss your wife when you get back. And that's the thing. A lot of people are not in that position to do those trips, which is fine, but it ain't got to be far. It could be an hour away. You and the fellas, hey, let's go to New Orleans. Hey, let's go to the casino in Shreveport or whatever the situation may be, and go from there. So I really feel you need that time apart so you can miss each other. A lot of people don't get that, especially when you have kids. You don't get time to be away from her. You got to see her every day, 365. But when you have time to get away, man, it kind of hit that reset button. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what you're saying, bro, it comes down to existing outside of your marriage, being who
Mm,
you are outside of your marriage.
right.
Uh, that's something that I'm recently just starting to learn too. Um, I'm the type of person that was so engraved into my family to where I didn't have no existence outside of my family. My aunt Elaine just recently told me, Ron, since I could remember, I've never seen you by yourself. You are either
Right.
was always with your wife, or you was always with one or all of your kids. You don't have no existence outside of them. And I think that's a thing that also puts a strain on a lot of people's marriage, is that they don't have any existence outside of the person that they're with. So when they
Right.
see that person interacting outside of them, I know with me personally, I didn't know how to handle that because it's like I wanted to do everything with my wife. I wanted to do everything with my kids because, you know, truth be told, that's what I saw my dad do. So I didn't have no existence outside of the family and the kids. And then that you slowly but surely you dying to someone else or to a group of people and you don't have any existence. So that kind of make you feel insignificant or you know, kind of lonely or whatever. And that's not a good feeling.
It's like you lose a piece of
Who
yourself.
you are, your identity.
Right.
You lose your
And a lot
identity.
of people
Yeah.
they don't come back from it. They'll get so lost into their relationships, they get so lost into their kids to where they don't have any existence outside of that. You only know them. Like with me, for instance, y'all know me as Ron, that nigga good with his kids. But they don't know me run outside of the kids or run outside of the husband. And I've been working, you know, trying to shift that and realizing that. But a lot of people struggle with that. They lose themselves or they lose their own identity in the relationships that they're in, or because they got kids or whatever, and they only doing what they saw mom and dad do or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing, but I'm wondering why I'm always frustrated. You feel me? I'm wondering why I'm always unhappy, and it's because I'm not having my own identity. My identity is tied into somebody else's identity, and that makes you feel a sense of just existing. You're not
Yeah.
living. Um, that shit is very important, bro. Like you have to be a Randy, you have to be a Felton, you have to be a Michael outside of your marriage.
Right.
And you know, being a good husband, that shouldn't just be all that people remember you by, or being a good
Right.
dad. That shouldn't be all that you remember about. When they put that shit on your obituary, you don't want it to just say loving husband, caring father.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like you know what I'm saying? That's a
Right.
boring fucking life. Like, what did he do outside of that?
Right. You
Or
want
what did she do outside of her family? But
Yeah.
It's that
you know,
dash.
but also to add on to that about marriage, I mean, we gotta also understand that what is marriage is and what it really stands for. Because if you understand too, like third world countries and certain countries, they have arranged marriages. And studies have shown that arranged marriages have outlived American marriages by far. So the question is, what is our thought process when we decide to get married? You know, if you look at India, they are studies have shown they're happier and their marriages last longer. So why is that if you've been arranged and forced to marry someone that you never really met or built something with? So the issue is us as people, we got to understand that marriage is something that you have to work at on a day-to-day basis. It's not perfect. Hollywood, the blossom in love, roses in my stomach and
Mhm.
bees, you're going to have that periodically. But just know if you work at that, you can get it again. You know what I'm
Bro.
saying? And constantly work on your marriage. You're
Yeah.
going to fall many a days. I can tell you that, but if you date somebody, it's the same thing. The difference is there's no legal ties, but it's anywhere you go. That's just the way it is.
So I tell all my soldiers that's under me, and even the ones that's in my platoon, everything. So in the military, we got what we call PMCS. It's like maintenance. So it's maintenance. You have to do maintenance on your marriage. You have to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And you have to do evaluation. So me and my wife, we've been doing this for the last few years. Even when we were dating, I would hold evaluations to where one day I'll just come out of nowhere and be like, how am I doing as your boyfriend? What do you need from me? What can I be doing better? You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. You have to, evaluate that and evaluate yourself, hold yourself accountable. But that's really, one of the biggest things. You just gotta. A lot of people don't. How would I say it? A lot of people don't do the maintenance on marriages, and when something happens, it's like, damn, where'd that come from? Well, he's been holding this for months, sometimes years, and he's never spoke on it. Now, what you just did was super small, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back and everything. And even when it comes to identity, like I said, I love my wife, but even when it comes time for us to go home or go to her home in South Africa, spend time with her family, me myself, I would like for her to leave first and give her 2 or 3 days to spend with her cousins, her sister, and just, have a girls' night or a sleepover or whatever to to have that identity. Just like even when I come home, she wants me to hang out with y'all just to wear to get that back. You know what I'm saying? To ground myself. I know even before I got married, when I would be away and this and that, it felt good coming to Baton Rouge and going on Plank Road and just driving up and down and thinking about this or that, how we used to hang out. Just grounding yourself. That's my identity. That's where I'm from. You know what I mean? So that's just big, man. Never lose yourself. And when you feel like you lose yourself, sometimes you need to get away and go home. And if you're already at home, sometimes it's good to just get away from home.
I think, yeah, what you're saying, I agree, man. It's good to have balance. I
Yeah,
think I've never been married, but one of the things I realized about myself when I'm in a relationship, I struggle with balance. Sometimes I'm so consumed into my relationship and my woman, I kind of neglect the things that make me happy, the things that
right.
I felt like God put me on earth to do. You know,
Mm.
some of the things like going to school, it's like, well, my relationship is going good. I kind of like the way things going. I don't want to mess that up, but I'm neglecting Randy. I'm neglecting the things that I felt like I
Mm.
was placed on earth to do. And so I think for me, finding that balance has been something I've always struggled with.
That's real though. That's real.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So look, fellas, we got a few more topics left, but we're gonna jump to one more, man. I know we kind of been on here longer than we expected. So um, this last topic is what qualities do we as men look for in a woman? So when we talk about finding a mate, things like that, it can be you know, just what do you look for? You know.
I would have to say this. I'm gonna sum it up real quick. Obviously, she has to be good on the eyes. Uh, you
So no
know,
booger bell. Gang
no
gang.
booger bears. You have to be attracted to whoever you're dealing with.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to be. That's first and foremost. Um, the three
Yes,
things
sir.
I look for: does she have morals? Does she believe in God? And how does she treat other men? Whether it's her father, whether it's her brother. I want to see when times are rough. How does she talk to her brother when they're arguing? How does she
Mm.
talk to her father when they're arguing? Or grandfather? You know, these are things I look at, and I pay attention. One of the, I'm sorry, qualities I would have to say, just how she take care of herself. Some women that take care of this, have a kid and just be like, oh, this is what it is.
Let
I want
themselves
somebody to
go.
be able to take care of themselves because I'm gonna do my best to take care of myself, not just to look good, but that I'm in good health, so that we could see 90 together. So yeah, that's it for
Mm.
me on that one, y'all.
I feel you, man. No, that's cool. What about you, Phil?
I would say definitely a person that if she had my best interests, like whatever my ambitions was before we got together, does she support that?
Mm.
So whatever my career ambitions is, do I have a woman that's gonna really push me to be the best version of myself?
Mm,
And like how Michael said, does she take pride in herself? Because if you don't take pride in yourself, do you truly love yourself?
Hmm.
mm,
and in order to love me, you have to first love yourself.
Mm.
I would say, do you truly love yourself? Do you take pride in yourself? A person, in my opinion, is, adventurous. I like a woman, that like to go places and do things with the family oriented. That's something that I look forward to because I'm a family oriented person. I love my family. Y'all know that. It's no surprise. So that's the quality I would look at, and I believe in God, because I mean, you put God at the head of your relationship, your marriage. That's an important thing. So that's something I would say, just summarize in a quick way.
I feel like that's something a lot of people don't talk about too, man. Nowadays is keeping God at the center of the relationship.
100, man.
Yeah, no,
100%.
that's real.
Yeah.
What about you, Ron?
For me, bro, for one, first is you gotta believe in God. You know, you have to believe in God. You have to be intelligent. I have to be attracted to you, physically attracted to you. Intelligent, physically attractive, and submissive. A lot of people
That's an important one too.
but don't get me wrong. A lot of women take the term, black women anyway, take the term submissive and think, well, nigga, you ain't about to have me in check, all this other stuff. I'm gonna do what I want. That's not what I mean by submissive. What I mean by submissive is if your man, which is the head of the household, it's God, the man, and then everybody else. If your man has a vision to propel your family to the next level, and he comes to you with this vision, like, hey, babe, I got this idea for this business. I think it'll really be good for us. Blase. Submissive would be a woman saying, even if she felt it was a bad idea, it would be her saying, you know what, babe, I don't really see your vision, but
I believe in you.
I believe in you, and I know you're led by God. So I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna give you the space to do what you need to do to make this plan work. In my opinion, that's what submissive is. Just giving your man the space to lead the family, and without reminding him, well, if you fuck up, I'm gonna be on your ass, or if it's a bad idea, you giving him every reason why you feel it's a bad idea, even if a woman felt like, I don't, ain't really fucking with your idea, she can be like, a submissive wife would be like, you know what? I don't see your vision. I don't really.
But I trust in you.
I don't really
to believe.
Right. I don't really understand what it is that you're seeing, but I'm gonna be submissive and let you, do what you need to do because I know your intent and I know that you have our best interests in heart. You as the man gonna do everything in your power not to disappoint that woman.
100%.
And if you do something to disappoint it, you ain't gonna never live that down on the inside. Like, man, I really fucked up. Or man, I really let them down. Right. And the last thing you need is somebody telling you how much you fucked up because like that plan ain't really work. And you have to think about that plan not working all day, every day. And the last thing,
throwing salt in the wound, huh?
Right. And that's what I mean by submissive. Having that tact to be like, you know what, I don't really see that nigga vision, but my man got an idea, and I'm gonna roll with him. Right. I'm gonna roll with him, and if he fuck up, I'm not gonna be the first person to be like, hey, I told you so. Right. Hey, I knew it wouldn't work. That's somebody that's not submissive, in my opinion. A lot of women think that submissive means I gotta do what that nigga say every time. Whenever he say, that's not what it is. I gotta do it when. Nah, it's just being submissive enough to be like, you know what? Although I don't really see it because it's not the woman's job to see the man's vision. The man is supposed to be the head of the household, and he's supposed to have some type of connection with God to where he's able to have these visions or whatever. So when you questioning your man's vision, you pretty much questioning God's authority. If you have a good-willed man and a good intention. Now, if you got an ain't shit ass nigga, then you probably should be questioning if you should be with him or not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you got a goodwill man and you know he believes in God, then if he has an idea or he has some type of vision in his mind and he needs to do that, then who are you to step in God's way for putting that vision in him? And you know,
Be the
9 times
backbone
out
of
of
your man.
10,
Yeah.
if you get that man that space to be like, to really think it, like, all right, is this a good idea? You know, he'll give it more thought when you say, you know what, I don't really see your vision, but I'm gonna give you the space to make that into fruition. If it's a bad idea, the dude is gonna think like, you know what, I might not fuck around with that, or I might do this differently, because he's gonna be so gun ho on, I don't want to disappoint my wife or my kids. If you got a goodwill man, you know what I'm saying, somebody that's for the good. Now you got somebody that's all for themselves, then you probably shouldn't be with that guy anyway. So for me, submissive is just giving your man a space to lead and allowing him to lead your family. But that goes from making sure you marry the right person, you know, because if you got to question his leadership skills, then you shouldn't be with that person
in the first place
from jump.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense for me.
Yeah, no, I absolutely get that, man. No, real talk. For me, qualities that I look for in a woman is someone that is loyal. Like loyalty, bro, is everything to me. You know, having peace of mind while you're at home, knowing that if I, like Mike, you in the army, if I get a deployment for a year and I'm away from home, I need to know that you're gonna hold it down for me. You know?
I agree with that. Yeah, that's important. That's very important.
Yeah,
very
man. Another thing is, man, like what I look for in a woman, I have to ask myself, when I can no longer do it for myself, will you be the person to wipe my ass? When I can no longer do it for myself. You get what I'm saying? Like, can I see this woman wiping my ass when I can no longer do it for myself? Like real talk. Real talk.
Oh, I'm with you on that. That's real.
That's true though. I mean, that's important. I mean,
yeah.
I'm so serious, bro. And because a lot of times, bro, you have to be careful, man. If you're a type of brother, you got your priorities in order. Women see that. So sometimes they fall in love with the lifestyle
that you
your
resources.
Yeah,
your resources.
And you have to be careful. You know?
Yeah. No, you hit the money on that too.
You gotta watch it, bro. Some people could be in love with the financial, with what you can provide them, with the lifestyle that you live. If you're the type of person, you like to travel, you drive nice vehicles, or you have a nice home, And so I guess that brings me to another thing. I'm looking at what you bring to the table. I'm not saying you have to match what I'm doing, but I need to know that you can add to what I'm doing and not take away from it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be I feel like if I'm bringing someone else to the table, it should be an addition to what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Not a subtraction. Right. I shouldn't be stagnant. I should be able to elevate by adding you to my life. And if I feel like that's not happening, then we don't need to be together. Why are you here?
That's important. That's
so yeah, those are some things that I look for, bro. Yeah, I want a woman that's attractive. I feel like if we at a point where we're talking about marriage and stuff, there has to be some level of attraction. Are you someone I'm learning now to pay attention to a person's upbringing. And let me meet your mother. I want to see the way your mother interacts with your father. How does your father interact with your mother? Does your mother cater to your dad? Because a lot of times, man, we as children, we grow to be just like our parents. Yeah. So if you get an idea of how that mother is and how they interact with their father, that kind of dictates what you're going to marry. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so that's, so just some things, man, to pay attention to. And I look back on my dating history, bro, like for the last 20 years, and I look at the women and the things that I've dealt with, and then I think about their mothers and the type of women they were. And I'm like, damn, I was dating their mothers because their personalities are very similar to their mothers. Some of them didn't have fathers growing up, some did, and fathers wore the dress in the household. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just things like that, bro, that I pay attention to.
That's real.
Dating ain't what it used to be, man. I don't get them butterflies and stuff anymore. You know, I don't. It's like, to me, it's like a damn business transaction. Do I really want to spend this money on this, or do I want to keep my money in my pocket? That's how I be feeling, man. I'm being real, bro.
No,
I'm just being real. I can save my money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Shit, spend it on something else. That's how I be feeling.
$20 is $20, dog.
Yeah. Shit, I'm just saying. But I think marriage is a beautiful thing. I believe that there are a lot of good women out there. I just think sometimes, man, we may look for the wrong things, and we tend to use our little heads and our big heads, and we end up with the wrong person sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but man, that's all I have, my brothers. I just want to say, man, I appreciate y'all for getting on, and I just hope this isn't the last time we all come together and chop it up, man. So we still have some subjects we haven't touched on, but hopefully we can schedule another date, man, and we can touch on those other subjects, bro. But I just want to say thank y'all, man, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you for
you.
having me.
Thank you for having us, bro.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
for sure.
Yeah, y'all have a good one, man.